And now, Detailing Success and PNS Double Black present the Renny Doyle Podcast, a podcast for blue-collar entrepreneurs. Hosted by the detailer of Air Force One and founder of both Detailing Success and the Detail Mafia, Renny Doyle.
Good morning from New Mexico.
There we are. Good morning. We're all scattered everywhere, aren't we?
We are. Alex, and look at you're back in Big Bear, Chris, and you know.
yeah. Virtual Big Bear.
Yeah. It's better than your ceiling fan. I sit there sometimes when I'd be watching it, I was going like this with your ceiling fan, you know. I started just watching it. So Alex, how's it going, man?
You can still see it a little.
Yeah, you can still see it a little bit over his head.
Yeah,
it's going good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good. I'm at the end of an 8-day trip and going home tonight and see the missus and the daughter and the dogs and the horses, and I'm ready. But been awesome. We had an amazing weekend last week. We were here in New Mexico at one of the most prized aircraft collection in the country, and we had the Warbird Revival. And not only did we get to work on some really, really, really special aircraft, we flew in them.
Oh, wow.
So part of our team went up in both B-17s and B-25s, and then part of them went up in one or the other. And we got to meet incredible people. And Chris, if you got any pictures of that, you can throw them up at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just incredible. We had a lot of this is going to be the gateway to Air Force One now. And so we had a lot of new people to our group, not necessarily new to detailing. They're all very experienced, and to see them grow, man, it was incredible. So now you've got, Alex, you got an exciting weekend. You're heading out somewhere. There's our team picture, and you see.
There we go. There's the team shot.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't really make it out, but my far right, to the group's left, is a very rare FU Corsair. You don't get to see too many of those. Beautiful example, flying condition. Right in the middle is Friendly Ghost, P-51D model. And then to our far left, to the team's far right, is a P-40. And that's just the opening of the museum. There's some incredible artifacts going deep into that hangar.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures being posted throughout the week from some of the guys on the team and everything. It definitely looked super cool.
Oh, it was it I don't even know how to put it into words. I mean, it was just so amazing. And it just the value, I mean, that FU Corsair, I mean, just depending on who you talk to, So where are you off to? Oh, look at that. There's Friendly Ghost, P-51.
Nice.
And I'm going to tell you, this thing was finished down when they did the complete makeover on it. One of the best makeovers I've ever seen on a P-51. I mean, it was everything, the attention to details on the aircraft was incredible. And so they've got one more P-51 that's raw form, and so we're going to jump on it, start on it next year. It'll be a multiple-year project to get it to its completely 100% bare metal, and it's machined bare metal. So it's going to take us a while to get it to that luster that you saw on the B-29 or Air Force One. It's years and years of dedication of getting it. Crazy. Yeah, pretty cool. So where are you off to this weekend?
I'm heading up to Marietta. I'm going to go cause some ruckus and some shenanigans with Noxie and Tommy and the guys and with Angel Wax and Jess Carr, and get some podcasting in. And
what are they doing up there? Explain the event.
So it's a combined event between Jess Carr and Angel Wax. So Aaron Knox, everybody knows, or most people know Noxie, is probably one of the better guys in the industry for hand wet sanding and polishing out and stuff like that. And he's recently joined forces with Jess Carr, and he's helping them develop some product and compound polishes and whatnot. So Tommy with Angel Wax teamed up with him and wanted to do a joint training. So Noxie's going to be showcasing off the Jess Carr line and how to do some rid sanding and removal and stuff like that. And then Rain Albertson is going to kind of take over and certify all who's there on Angel Wax's ceramic coatings and stuff like that. So yeah, should be a good time.
Wow,
Alex and Noxie together again.
Well, collaboration, man. You look at that, and you look at those two organizations, and everybody gets their panties in a bunch and all uptight, but there's people and product lines that get it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I applaud you guys for doing that. That's pretty special.
Yeah, it should be a good time. Some rebel rousing, some all kinds of good stuff. So I'm excited for it. It's middle of the year. It's been since end of January, beginning of February when MTE was to kind of see my fellow detailers. So this will kind of I feel like kind of bring everything back in line for me by getting to hang out with everybody and kind of having that camaraderie that I don't get really the rest of the year in person.
Right.
So that's why I like going to these events when I can, is because it's it's the hugs, it's the handshakes, it's the face to face, of talking to somebody who's going through the same thing you are versus kind of doing it over a phone or through a text or something like that. So it should be good fun.
Well, hey, let's pay some bills. So we want to thank PNS. We've got Rehab, our new compound out. It's done really well. We all worked very hard. Dave's just a abracadabra kind of guy, and came out with a great, I would call it a mid-range compound, something nice for these modern day paints. And we want to thank Dynabrade for jumping in. We're going to have our hard release of our tool here in just a few weeks. We did the introduction of the tool back in July of last year, and now we're worked all the bugs out. We got a couple hundred units out in the hands, and it's been awesome. So we want to thank them, all of our product partners. We got so many. Then also the team that went out last week, to New Mexico and helped on the Warbird Revival. Anthony Aguilar out of Texas. It was his project. He did a great job. Oscar did a great job of assisting him. Teamwork came together. It was pretty incredible. So there, the bills are paid. So next week we've got, it's hard to believe, Chris, episode 200 of the podcast, 200 in. And when you only do one a week and you miss weeks here and there because of, sometimes Air Force One, SEMA, all these different events. So it's hard to believe we're at number 2. It feels like just, we're just planning it out. So special kind of edition of the podcast next week, completely different. And Chris hasn't even seen the entire unveiling of what we've got planned, but he will Friday. So it's going to be fun. But so let's talk about this guy, Alex Russell. So he's a guy after my own heart. He's a hard worker, thinks outside the box, and he loves Van Halen. And so you just can't go wrong. But he's a busy guy, and we're going to just go through, and I'm just going to ask him some questions about his journey and kind of where he's been, where he's at, where he's going. And he's a guy that's faced the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry, and he keeps moving ahead. So
before you guys jump into that, I want to give a shout out real quick. We've got some cool international guys on tonight or today. Okay. It might be nighttime where they're at. We got guys from Puerto Rico. We got Poland.
Cool.
Algeria and Australia. And those are just the ones that have jumped out at me here.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I got a lot of good friends in Poland, and it's Puerto Rico. We're going to be there here quickly. 8 weeks. We're going to be over there and hosting a 2-day training. So stand by for that, and then a open house. And so we're really excited to get to. We've been trying to get to Puerto Rico for some time. Not only is it just me, but Justin Lobato is joining us, and then Oscar's going along too. So representing Buff and Shine, PNS, Dynabrade, all things in between. So it's we're coming to you. And then
I just got reminded from Gabriel that also the Netherlands, and then a good one. Our fine friend Ian at Autofiber says he's here from California.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I feel your pain there, Ian. I really do. So there's another great guy. Let me tell you, his tools on this last project, his styles and stuff. You talk about the guy that's just kind of turned the industry on its ear with creativeness. That's a guy right there. Ian's done a great job. Boy, we sure enjoyed every one of your products that you sent out. We always do, and we sure loved it. So thanks for sending it out, bud. But yeah, call me California, man. It's boy, it's turning weird between them and New York. I won't even go there. I just history's repeating itself in front of our eyes, and it's unreal. I won't go there because I'll get really pissed off. But so Alex is a guy that I call, he's a guy after my own heart. He's a blue collar entrepreneur. So Alex, why detailing? How'd you jump into detailing?
Oh man, why detailing? Because I started in the car wash, and the detailers were the cool guys of the car wash. They were the like kind of like the jocks, right? They were the football team, I feel, and on top of that, at the time, this was 95. Detailers got to keep their own tips, and those guys would go home sometimes with $100, $200 a day in tips. And this was back when minimum wage was like $4.25 an hour. So you could make more in tips a day than sometimes you were making in a whole week at a paycheck. So yeah, I started there, and then through my journey of just growing through the car wash, getting into management, running different successful car washes here in the Central Florida area. And then it finally came a time when the car wash I was at was getting bought out, and it was stay and be put back into a management position of working, probably 70 hours a week or so, or, taking that leap out of the nest and starting my own detail shop. So with the wife's blessing, I started that, I took that leap and started my own detail shop. And thankfully, the company that was buying out the car wash didn't do detailing. So my boss, the owners, said, look, you've got, because they let us know, I think like a month and a half before the switchover was going to happen. So they basically told me, like, look, you can let everybody know you're leaving and take anybody you want, and at the time,
Wow.
I was working as kind of like their sales manager / detail manager for 2 locations. So I would bounce back and forth between 2 locations, working with the greeters and the sales staff and then the detail shop and everything. So yeah, I just, started letting clients that I knew, that I had known for years, that I was leaving, and giving them my phone numbers. And, some trickled over with me, and some took some time after, the new car wash obviously doesn't do the same job. They reached out. So yeah, and that's where I'm at today.
That's awesome. So tell us about your operation. You're mobile, fixed.
So I'm fixed. I'm fixed. It's just me. I have a little small 600 square foot kind of storage garage space. It's kind of like, I call it garage space more than warehouse space. But you know what? It's just me, and I tell everybody all the time, like 600 square feet it's enough room for me to do a car. What do I need more room? What do I need to pay more overhead for? Why do I need to have 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet if I'm only working on one car at a time? I'm paying for extra space that's wasted. So that's what I love about it. It's quaint, it's small, it's kind of hidden. And a lot of my clients kind of like that. They kind of refer to it sometimes, in kind of a speakeasy kind of sense, because it's hidden where it is. There's no signage, like if you haven't been there, you wouldn't just drive by and kind of stumble upon me or whatever. So yeah, that's what I love about it.
We all of our shops, we had one shop that was right on the main boulevard but tucked away. Then our biggest shop was on the main boulevard, but we didn't have any signage up, and our customers used to call it the vault, because nobody would know what was in there, right?
Yeah,
either one of them. And ours wasn't much bigger than you. We're about 1,200 square feet. but we'd expand outside. We had awnings to cover garages, so to say, in the summertime.
Right.
So we did a lot of business out there. But, at one point you're going to start just living to work and not, or work to live. And
Yeah.
it's having small, everybody like frowns upon it. And I'm like, remember when you first got started and you just do anything just to make a buck, and then it was make more bucks and, buy a house and all this. Who says you got to go big and into debt? I mean, especially if you're not going to own it, if you're, it's if you're leasing it, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage, right? But I like your idea. I like your
and that's the thing is it's small, so it's super cheap. I mean, like I tell people all the time, and sometimes it it drops their jaws. I pay less than $400 a month for my unit, including water and electricity.
Wow.
And it's like, by keeping my overhead down, that's one of the things I always tell people. Alan Medcraft said it to me a while back. He said, you basically have a lifestyle business. Your business keeps you in the lifestyle you want. And because I've managed to get into this space with low overhead, and then, of course, insurance doesn't cost a whole lot. Businesses licensed don't cost a whole lot. So with everything, I can keep so low that I don't need to be these guys out there that are chasing every dollar, because I've got, $15,000-$20,000 a month in overhead, with employees and big buildings and whatever. I can take the stuff that I want to take and then charge a ticket price that works for me. That sometimes, one coating a week is all the money that I need to make for a week. So why push myself? I can work 2 days or, 2.5 days on a coating job or whatever. And then I get more free time to spend with the wife and kid, doing the things that
I think it's brilliant. I think more people need to look at detail. I always say, man, detailing is not a get rich quick. Matter of fact, it's going to take decades to do it, or it's a lifestyle business, and you can still build wealth at a level you're doing. It's just going to take time. Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, the thing. Okay, I won't mention any names. Great person. Was with them recently in the last couple 2-3 years and was watching their pace. And the reason why it threw me off is because I've been there, done that. I could look around him at people around him, but mainly I looked at him, and I'm talking mega operation, mega. Been there, done that, and I pulled him aside and I said, "You're either going to do one of two things. You're going to work yourself into a grave. Actually, three things. You're going to work yourself into a divorce. You're going to work yourself into a grave, or you're going to burn out and quit."
Yeah.
Because the direction you're going right now, you think that you're going to own the world, but you're going to break before that happens. And it's the iceberg's breaking up as we speak. You can see it, and it breaks my heart. But you know what? You're either going to listen and make adjustments to somebody that's been there. Thank God I made the adjustments, but most people don't. And so I applaud you for recognizing what you want to be, owning it, and then making it happen. So
Yes.
you brought up something really interesting, and so it leaves you time for your wife. But let's go back, and we'll go into each one of these kind of separately here in a second. But you own the podcast. You got the podcast Detail Solutions podcast. You're the host. You rep Aquatech coatings, and then you got a detail business. So it's allowed you, I imagine, those nice little caveats, those nice little side things also feed into supplying you the life you want too, correct?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the podcast doesn't make huge money. And Aquatech is still starting off, so there's not huge money there. But I always tell people it's free money, right? Like for me, like with Aquatech, it's a sales role. I mean, all I got to do is have a conversation with somebody and get them signed up, and then I collect money off of it like a salesman should, right? It's not hard work, because it's a product that I use in my shop and have used for over a year and a half. So I believe in it, before I even took the job. Kind of the same thing with the podcast. I mean, the podcast, the advertising funding that we get typically is enough to run the podcast. This year I am deciding to kind of pay myself a little bit out of it, but it's very minimal, because we don't, again, it doesn't make huge money. But you're right. Those two things do kind of help out with the big thing, which is the detail shop, for money. And it just all kind of comes together. And hopefully down the line, the Aquatech thing will take the place of the detail shop money, right? And then I can kind of just have the detail shop as a hobby, or really only do things that I want there, because the Aquatech thing will take off. Hopefully, with the podcast, as we grow and we can bring on more sponsors, we can have more revenue with that, to be able to do, way more traveling than what I do now. I mean, I would love to, kind of be like Rod and Jody. I mean, those guys are able to, go to a whole lot of events and do podcasting and things like that. So, and again, that just takes, it's not money that I'm pulling out of my personal account to have to do traveling and stuff. It pays for itself, which is nice.
But see, even then it creates another, cause and effect.
Yeah.
Jody, Rod, great guys. They're all over the place, but let's pull them aside, quietly, and ask them what it's done, the cost of that,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
being
I'm
away
sure.
from, family, being away from
Yeah.
business, all these different things. And so, I always caution people, man, this travel thing's sexy for about 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
then
I'm not saying I want to travel as much as they do,
right.
but every now, yeah, it would be nice to, like, so last year I was able to do STC. I was able to come out to, thankfully for the invite from you, to the Air Force One project, which was a blast. And in SEMA, right? So that was 3. That was
Yep.
good enough. This year I've got the training this weekend up at Marietta. Still SEMA later on, but I'm trying to, get Aquatech to front that one and not the podcast. And then that'll free me up to maybe do something else with the podcast, at some point, if something comes up, that, again, just gets me out and about and in front of people. And
absolutely.
So, yeah.
It's, I think this year's been a little heavy because we had the PNS merged. And so we had to put, a lot into that in the beginning, and then you add that onto an already busy schedule. And my schedule was really disastrous, from a personal standpoint. But you have to get your brand out there. That's why, we just got back. We were in Hawaii, giving the Hawaiian detailer some love. And
that must have been torture, having to go to Hawaii.
It was, but it's again, if you ask, Oscar, that went along, it was very little play and a lot of business. And we came home and we were destroyed. Yeah, we had a couple days. Our daughter's a helicopter pilot on the Big Island, so we flew over. She took us for a tour in the helicopter of the Big Island. Nice. And then we flew back, and it was a great day. But the pace is exhausting, just exhausting. And you're the primary reason you're there is business, and then to squeeze. And Alex, that is just a wonderful detailer there in Honolulu. He was a great host, and he did so much. And thank God. And he was worn out. I mean, it was a busy week. But you're right. If you don't take and put back in and get recognized and show some respect and love to people. I mean, you just said about your podcast. Our podcast cost us. And so, matter of fact, let's do a little commercial real quick. And detail, Chris, if you would bring up the website sometime towards the end and a discount code. But you guys, Detail World, they're moving. They're probably going to go globally if they haven't already. But they're growing nationwide. They're opening up a new location in Yucaipa, California, next weekend, I believe it is. And not this coming, but the following one, right in my backyard. And so they're multi-product. Local store to you. So if you like, and just add in the discount code Renny when you go to checkout, and there you go. So, hey, so now you rep, you've got the detail business, you got Aquatech, you got the podcast, pretty good lifestyle, right? You've carved it out. So what's the journey been like? What give us the good, give us the bad, and give us the ugly. And I wouldn't go into too many details, but a lot of people just think, when you see somebody that's, has a podcast, and it's, let's face it, it's not hard to do a podcast, but it's hard to do a podcast and keep at it,
Yeah.
and so you've, through thick or thin, you've kept at it. So kind of explain your journey.
So yeah, I mean, I would say it's, just like anything else. I mean, you have your ebbs and your flows, right? I remember, when we first made that leap from leaving the car wash to starting the detail business, right? Like I left a salaried job with benefits and vacation time to, do I have anything going on next week? What am I doing
Right.
today? You know, um, when you got a 4-year-old at the time, that's in, daycare, that's not cheap. That's a big stress on a family, So I mean, there was a lot of time that really tested Michelle and I, on
Absolutely.
because of money, right? I mean, it's not that we didn't love each other, but it's like I'm sitting around at home all week because I got nothing going on. I'm trying my best to grow and this and that. So it's tough. Thankfully, I have one of my cousins. Um, Her husband is or was a kind of a big known guy in the industry, and they had a big shop up in the Seattle area, and Michelle was talking to her, and and she told her, said, "Look, those first 3 4 years for us was really rough, and then it starts getting better." And sure enough, around that 3 to 4 year mark, it started to gain a little bit of momentum, and things got a little bit easier. I mean, it was still tough, but got a little bit easier. And now we're 8 years in, and not to say that it's not still tough, because the industry, is going through a weird thing right now, I feel. I mean, I talk to a lot of people that are slow. I talk to a lot of people that are crazy busy, so I think and of course we're, in a weird time. It's an election year, which always seems to, people kind of hold on to their money a little bit more during and stuff like that. So, yeah, it hasn't been super easy, but those challenges, right? I think I hear you talk about it all the time. Those are those steps that put you into better places, as long as you can get past them, right? So we just keep on keeping on, life's a garden, dig it, yeah, all the Joe Dirt stuff,
I love it. I love it. Dig it.
yeah, and I
Dig it.
mean, and when the podcast came out, it was really just a way of me being able to connect with detailers that I admired or looked up to. It was nothing to do, with I never thought I'd make money off of it. I never thought, I'd be a cool kid or a popular kid, go to these events and people know my name or something like that. I mean, it was just literally, I wanted to be able to connect with people. And I thought, you know what, it's the way that I always look at it, and I always tell people, is it's like if you and I were sitting at a restaurant, just having you know, a conversation, and the whole restaurant is eavesdropping in, right? They're getting to know both of us. Um, and you're right. It is tough to keep it going. I mean, I'm coming up on 4 years. You mentioned you're getting ready to do your 200th episode. I mean, I do two a week, majority of the time. So I'm in the 320s now, I think, or something. Um, and it's definitely getting to a point to where it's like, okay, how much longer can I keep, talking about this or that? Or, I mean, obviously talking to an individual and getting their background or their story is, that could go on forever, right? I'll never run out of detailers, I feel like, but it's the topics or, things like that. So, thanks, Jerry. So I've actually switched it up. I've kind of abandoned the hour-long round table topic discussion kind of things, and um, I've embraced the AI world. I still come up with my topic ideas. I punch it into GPT. I say, Chat GPT, write me a 15-minute podcast about whatever, and Chat GPT will write it. And then I
Yep.
record it,
Go straight
but
down. Yep.
but I use ChatGPT as an outline. Like I don't like I interject my wording, my experiences and things like that. And it's been a little rejuvenating the last couple of weeks that I've been doing them because they're 15 minutes. I don't have to schedule with anybody, I'm not doing them live anymore. So, you know, the one I released yesterday morning, I actually recorded it Monday morning before I went to work. Um, the kid was still at her cheerleading event. Michelle had to leave to go to work, and I came in here. I sat down. I turned the camera on, pressed record, did my 15-minute deal, hit end, and then I went to work. Came home and uploaded it and got it ready to go. So yeah, I mean it's definitely been work. Um, you say the podcasts aren't really that hard to do, and they're not, but at the same time, there is some work involved with it, and there is
Oh, absolutely. And,
the
and it's work to entertain people. Our goal is always one thing, to have one person respond to every single podcast that we really, really made an impact. And that's my payment, is knowing that just now, is it more than one? Oh yeah. There's times that we hit, this one will probably be a good one. We'll get some great responses back because you're giving trench warfare level responses of what reality is, And so I don't mean to say it's easy because there's a lot of people that got out there and have failed at it, right? It's again just you keeping the pace up alone, and then coming up with interesting people, and then even the questions you ask them is got to be thought out, right? And then
that. And then too, I mean, you have to constantly evolve it, because you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, because then people are like, oh, he's asking the same questions again. It's the same this, it's the same that. So even a lot of the question, a couple of years ago, I switched to a little bit more of a conversational style where, I just ask in the beginning how people got started, and then it becomes conversational. But at the end, I always ask them, I kind of call them the thinking questions, where I ask them questions that everybody's going to have a different answer to, and get you kind of thinking. And then, it's every so often changing those up so that people aren't, then it kind of throws some people off, because then I get people on and they're like, all right, I've been thinking about my answer for this for the longest time, and then I'm like, hey, I don't ask that question anymore, and they're like, oh,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So hey, so you faced diversity, and all of us have life and or in life and business and everything else. How do you stay on course? What's your magic key of staying on course when things just go, when they pivot suddenly?
I hope not to offend anybody, but you may not be able to tell from this baby face. But I I am 51, so I am from the Gen X era.
Amen.
And I mean, Gen Xers just found a way, you know, just found a way. We just did our thing, and sometimes it's asking people for advice. I mean, I've reached out to you a couple of times, and asked for your advice on things or your mentorship. It's you know hitting up Noxie because he's been a little bit more forward than I have in the industry, and so asking him his stuff or whoever. But a lot of times it's the look, man. You got to get up out of bed. You got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving, right? Like you can't. What am I going to do? I'm going to sit on the couch all day and cry about it,
Nope.
Oh, so and so did this, or my client bailed on me, or what? Like whatever, man. Like that's not end of the world stuff, Um, so I just do. It's Nike.
Well,
Just do it.
let's say this too: to have a Doxy in your corner, an amazing guy like that, is pretty amazing. We all have them,
Yeah,
We all have
yeah,
them. You just got to find them. You got to be respectful to them, and what a
yeah,
great guy to have in your corner, And
yeah.
so, okay, so this is a big one. And what if you could change something in the industry? What would it be?
Oh man, I think it would right now, just because it's what my latest podcast was about. Um, I would want to end the negativity
Hmm.
in the industry. I mean, we're all trying to achieve the same thing, so there's no real need in tearing people down, just because, you know. Um,
Great answer.
like I'll give them a shout out on your podcast too, because I give them a shout out on my podcast. Is Jerry Grant and Kyle Camus are I feel two of my biggest cheerleaders in a sense, because like those guys just love everybody, man. They don't,
Yeah.
hey man, you use product A, I use product B, we can be
Cool.
friends, you know?
Cool.
Like
Yes.
there's no like animosity between,
No.
with those guys, with anybody. And that's the thing that gets to me. And I've been kind of going through it a little bit lately, and where I really am trying to train myself to kind of stay off of Facebook. It's hard. Like I wish I could just delete Facebook, honestly. But because of the podcast and because of my business, you can't, right? Because then you
Right.
can't have
Absolutely.
business pages without having whatever, right? So I'm trying to just limit my time on there. And when I do scroll, I'm trying not to get hung up on any of the posts that have any negativity or any bashing or anything like that. So for me, I feel like, negativity breeds negativity,
I don't need it in my life.
and
That's for sure.
and that's the thing, everybody's like, oh, surround yourself with positive people, and you try to, but the problem is, listen, at the end of the day, good usually always wins, but bad always has a bigger army,
Yeah.
and it's tougher to get through the bad to get to the good. So it's hard to like not see that stuff or not get fallen into, like, oh, this person said this about whatever, and I know I really shouldn't say anything, but you know what, I can't, and then you're typing away, and then 10 minutes later you're like, shit, I should have done that.
Again, I always say it doesn't need to be said. Does it need to be said right now? Does it need to be said by me?
Yeah.
And anything on online like that, as soon as I see them chopping up somebody, usually I can't remember what the action is, but I ignore that person, even if
Yeah.
it's somebody I'm close to. Just ignore them. I'll
Yeah.
put them on hiatus. I just don't need it. There's some clown out in the industry. I just was brought to my attention last week that that's all he does is go out and like on TikTok, do a background of somebody doing something, then tear them apart. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what a pity. I pity the dude's soul, because
Those-
to have
those-
that kind of time on your hands
Yeah.
to where you just want to go get ugly on somebody, what a douche.
Well, but
I mean,
here's the thing too, Rennie, and it's a lot of what I went through earlier in the year,
yeah,
is people love to see that.
man, I know.
So people are going to do it for the likes, because the more people, it's the whole, if we just tune it out, it goes away,
Yeah.
but the problem is no, everybody wants to look at the train wreck,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you know
And
what? Those are weak people that
oh yeah,
partake in that shit.
I know,
Sorry if
right?
I offend you, but those guys out there, those people that are out there that entertain that shit, you're weak minded, dude. Go do something. I mean, go get
Yeah.
therapy, or go find a hobby, or I'm sorry, your life sucks, or whatever it is. But man, I just anybody prescribes that shit, I don't want you in my life. Defriend me right now.
Yeah.
Because
I had a,
we don't need
I
it. We don't need
I
it.
had a buddy of mine yesterday tell me, I should start following the Joe Rogan method of post it and ghost it.
Yep.
Put it out there and then never don't go back and check it.
No, I
You
never
know,
do.
don't read the comments.
I don't
You
put too
know,
many posts up. I've actually been running low this year just because we've been so slammed. I
yeah,
have no time, right? So I just post enough to let people know I'm alive. And I
yeah,
don't care about the likes. I don't care about the comments. I don't care about anything. I
yeah.
just put it out there. So hey, how do people reach out to you? Especially, think about this. You might, attract an audience. You guys always want to respect him, but there might be somebody that's relating to something that you said today. How would you like to how would
Well,
you
I
like
mean,
them to follow you? And then
yeah.
if you want
I
to
mean,
reach out, how do they do so?
as much as I hated just saying I don't want it anymore, but Facebook's probably the easiest. Messenger really. So I mean, you can just find me, Alex Russell, on Facebook, and shoot me a message. I mean, a lot of times, that's how most people get a hold of me. If you're an Instagram person, I'm arussell5150 on Instagram. You can message me there too. Or just, the podcast, the Detail Solutions podcast, on Instagram and Facebook. Actually, I think it's just Detail Solutions podcast, because I didn't put the in until after we had started and got all the stuff. And TikTok, I'm on there occasionally, but if you send me a message on TikTok, I probably won't see it because I don't go on the podcast one that much. But the podcast TikTok is Detail Solutions Pod. And then Chris has got the website up right now, the detailsolutionspodcast.com. You can go on there, and it has the links to all the social media stuff, and then where you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple.
Good job, dude. Well, hey, Chris, before we get out of here, I just want to tell you that is one bitchin' looking shop that you're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome,
there
dude.
I'd walk back there, but I might get lost. So
yeah. It's funny. Somebody's asked me yesterday, what do you miss most when you're away from home? My wife, our daughter, our dogs and horses, in my shop.
In your shop?
My shop. I'm always out there. I'm always out in there. I mean, it's my dream, right? I'm so blessed.
That's his giant man cave. What are you talking about? Why wouldn't you want to be there?
It's my giant think tank is what it is. I get in there, crank up some music, and lose myself, But hey, Alex, thanks for coming in, man. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Stay doing what you're doing, dude. You're good at it. Tell Nazi said hi.
Before we totally wrap up, can we bring attention to something that the Detail Mafia is working on?
Oh, yeah, that's fun. I forgot. I'm glad you said that.
So we're working on something fun here. It's about 2 weeks away, a little less. Detailing for Heroes. Just keep your eyes open. It's something cool we're doing to give back. We've got about 7 shops participating for this first inaugural event. And the whole goal is that the shop will identify a member of the military or their family, or a first responder or their family, somebody that's in need of a detail, and members are going to get together and provide that detail for them, free of charge as a way to give back to people that give plenty to us, So keep your eyes open for that. What's that?
Yeah, so proud of the group for doing this. This is something that we actually had another back way back, probably 10, 15 years ago, something like this. And we could just never, detailing was different back then. Right. But this is pretty awesome. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to get ready and go see my dad for just a little bit. I'm going to go catch a flight, and I'm going to get home. So, hey, everybody, again, go check out Detail World. Thanks to P&S, Dynabraid. We got a lot of big things coming out of both camps. And, a lot of people ask me this, how healthy is P&S with the merger? We are healthy. Is the merger is helping, not hurting. And to be with ATG, the group, these guys know their shit. And it's been an honor to work with them. Although I'm excited for a little break because it's been intense. All right, everybody. Hey, be blessed. Stay happy. Stay safe. Next week, episode 200. It's going to be interesting. It's different take on the podcast. You're going to learn a lot of people that go way back with me. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be on it. I might let the guests that are going to be on their thing. And so I might just be on kind of as a spectator. So we'll see. But y'all take care, man. And we'll, Chris, kiss the floor of my shop for me, would you?
Yeah. All right. I don't think I'm going to do that. I've seen that floor.
Yeah. It's clean. We do a good job, man. It's cleaner than most houses. All right, guys. You take care. Alex, good seeing you, buddy.
Guys. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for commenting.
Hey, have fun at this weekend event. Tell everybody we said hi, would you?
Hey, I will, man. You have a safe trip back home. Okay, buddy?
We'll see you.
All right, man. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Renny Doyle podcast, brought to you by Detailing Success and P&S Double Black. Listen to new episodes weekly, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues.